I am here today to talk about charging based on value or charging based on time. Here's the tricky thing, first of all, about charging based on value. Value is very subjective, and it is hard for you and your client to come up with a consensus on the value of, say, a sales page. Because also the value is not just based on the work that you do. The value, for example, a sales page is going to change a lot based on the traffic that they drive to it, based on how good the offer on the sales page is, based on any number of other factors. And if you are, if your client has a really fantastic product or service and they do a really great job of driving traffic to the page and they targeted the right target audience, then it could be a major win for them, and it could be a $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 sales page, huge value. But if they aren't targeting the right audience, if they don't have a really, really strong offer, if they're not even sending it to that many people, then the actual value of that sales page, it may only make them, a couple thousand. But in neither of those cases is that your fault. So charging based on value, and that's where you actually have a result. But charging based on value, how do you charge based on value for something that is like an opt-in? A copy to get people to opt into a newsletter, or copy to get people to opt in for a webinar or a training or something like that. It's actually very hard to quantify that value, which is one of the many reasons that we recommend when you are first getting started as a copywriter, charging based on how long it's going to take you to do something. So figuring out the actual writing, yes, of course, how long it will take you to write the first draft of something. And I know that sometimes too that can be like, well, I don't know, I've never done this before. As we say to our students in the CCA, when you're going through your practice sheets, they're not just in there to teach you to learn to write copy, but also so you get some sense for how long things take you. But so you need to figure out how long it's going to take you to write your copy. And even before that, how long it's going to take you to concept and outline. Factor in some time for revisions, because there are always going to be revisions on a project. Your client is going to have feedback for you, and that's great. They should have feedback for you. Factor in time for meetings. You're going to have your initial input meeting. You will have your review call, and those may be calls, they may be Zoom, maybe eventually they'll be in person. Who knows? But you want to factor all of that in based on the hourly rate that you figured out for yourself. And then you do want to multiply that by like 1.2 or 1.3, just to make sure that you're covered in case anything goes a little awry with the project, or the client turns out to need a little bit more hand-holding than you expected, or there's another round of revisions that you didn't expect, or something like that. But that helps to just make sure that you are set for strange eventualities. But that is the base place you want to start when you are figuring out your rates. Now, as you go, as you get more experienced, as you work with more clients, all that kind of thing, you can increase your hourly rate. And as you get faster, you may find that you want to, you don't necessarily have to get faster, but if as you develop and as you practice, you do get a little bit faster, you want to make sure that you factor that into your calculations as well, because you don't want to penalize yourself for being a fast, efficient copywriter, right? So maybe if you know that it's actually going to take you 2 hours, but the average person, it might take 4 hours or something like that, maybe you want to factor it in that way. As I've said before, Kate said before, the entire team has said before, all of our coaches have said before, pricing is not an exact science. And I know that that's not what you want to hear. I know that you want me to tell you the exact formula, but there is no exact formula. However, pricing based on how long the project is actually going to take you is a really good place to start, especially when you are newer to it. As you get more experience, as you get potentially faster, but not necessarily. There are plenty of copywriters who have not sped up in terms of the rate that it takes them to write things, but their skill has increased. But as these things develop and as you get a better sense for working with clients and what that entails, you'll be able to come up with your rates. It'll be a little bit easier for you to come up with your rates. But even with that said, I wish I could tell you at some point you're gonna be like, oh, this is so easy, no problem. This is a whatever, and I can just tell them right on the phone. Now, every project is going to be different. Every project is going to require a little thinking. And honestly, I wish I could tell you too that you're going to send through your quotes and be like, yes, absolutely perfect number. I'm absolutely positive that's the right price and the client is going to pay it and that's the right. Now, even when you've been doing it as long as I have, as long as Kate has, as long as everybody has, you're still going to send through your quotes and be like, I wonder if that was too high. Or I wonder if I could have gotten more for that project. Should I have charged more? Should I be charging more in general? Is it time for me to raise my rates? These are questions you will be regularly asking yourself. But that's good. They're questions we should be regularly asking ourselves because we are skilled professionals and we're providing a very valuable service. So we want to make sure that we are being paid well for the skills that we bring to the table and the services that we provide our clients and the benefits that we give our clients. So value versus time, at the very least, when you're beginning, time is the way to go. Figuring it out by value gets very complicated. And honestly, I've never, even in the years that I've done it, I still find it easier to figure it out by the time that I think it's going to do. But again, I've been doing this for 15 to 20 years. And so my hourly rate has increased. So that has increased my rates to make sure my project rates, and I'm not making the same as I was when I was, 27 or something like that.